his in some way.
It's so difficult for me because my heart, like, in one sense, my heart kind of goes out to the people that fall for this kind of trickery. And then in another sense, it doesn't. In another sense, I want to, like, shake them and be like, how could you be, like, so gullible? Like, has he done anything? Has he done anything, performed any miracles, anything spectacular to lend credence to the fact that he might actually be this body? Like, what does he put forth as evidence?
There are no miracle videos, only judgment videos. Now,
wait a second. Wait a second. Now, that's not fair, you guys. Kyle, you were a recipient of one of the more recent judgments when the hurricane came. I mean, he brought that.
David, can you mute Dr. Bowen? I hate to do this, Dr. Bowen. We have to do this to him. We have to do this to unruly guests, and I'm so sorry.
But Kyle survived, so obviously, Lord Rayel, he blessed Kyle and put him under his wing of protection and shielded him
from the asteroid. Harm. We know how his aim is.
Hey, wait, did the asteroid hit you? No, there you go.
This makes it to where when somebody says, that whole thing, I'm not going to stand too close to you, you're going to get struck by lightning, you don't have to move away anymore because it 9 times out of 10 probably won't hit him. It'll hit the tree next door or something like that.
Now, I will say this about the miracles. He did have, at least at one time, a healing video. But it's been deleted. And all we have is an explanation for deletion. And
did it involve jelly juice?
He must be. He's a clumsy god. That's what he is. He tries, but he can't just like.
No idea.
What was the reason for deleting the video?
A lot of stuff wrong for a deity. I don't know.
Okay, so the reason why he deleted that video was because apparently people were not sharing it enough, and he said they were just using it for themselves. He wanted people to, once they receive the video, to make it go viral and to spread it. They're like, oh, they're holding on to this treasure. They're not letting it go and letting it spread. They're so greedy. I'm going to remove it. That's what.
Oh my God!
Said, of course.
So God cares about his social media influence.
Why not? God needs an online presence too, right?
This is literally the greatest, the greatest group of individuals I have come across since I've been doing the show. We have talked to so many people, and with so many different views and beliefs, and this is my absolute favorite because you have a deity that can't aim, cares about his social media following, and who uses emojis to explain why terrible events didn't happen.
Okay,
this is the most technologically advanced yet.
Hang on. First of all, God is a male in this case. Men can't aim. We all know this. Women have been telling that for us for years. Second of all, in this day and age, I think that it's important to have an online media presence, even for a deity. So, I mean, I'm not faulting this guy too much for that.
I mean, look, I think the thing that really got me when the first couple of days that I was watching these videos was William Scoggins preaching a sermon said, it's, if you've ever heard a pastor say something like, enough to just drop $1 in the offering plate, or it's not enough to just, serving God doesn't mean just coming to church on Sunday. He said, serving God is more than just subscribing to his Twitter account.
Oh,
interesting.
And you know what's funny? Somebody in the chat just said, "Is God on Twitter?" Someone in the chat just said, "Is God on Twitter?"
Yes,
you can
I've seen him on there. Actually, there's a couple of different versions actually, and I've seen a few different Jesuses on there too. So, yep.
Michael, is definitely on Twitter.
You haven't been kicked out of this group yet. Do you think you will be now?
I don't know. I better hold on because it might happen.
I'm almost positive it probably will, and we do apologize for that. But you can figure out a way to get back in, I'm sure.
But how do we know which God on Twitter is the right God on Twitter?
Obviously, the one that says the things that you like the most.
The one that strikes you down with a hurricane, that's the one that's legit.
It's very graphic.
Or tornado.
So
or asteroid.
We're about at the 90-minute mark. Well, I hate. Go ahead, Dr. Bowen.
No, go ahead. You were getting ready to. say something about the 90-minute mark.
I was just going to say, do you have? Did you have any other directions that you wanted to go, Dr. Bowen?
Yeah, I mean, there was, and I know we don't have an awful lot of time, but there was something, Michael, that to sort of shift gears just a little bit. Michael sent me a link to a project that he's working on, which I actually found really interesting. And I know we don't have a lot of time to talk about it, but maybe he could just give a brief overview, because I do find it fascinating. You're creating a new edition of the Bible. Is that a fair way to? Edition's probably not the right word, but maybe you could just talk about that, so that and maybe tell people where they can go to see it.
Well, it's not online right now, but I will send you a link when it comes online. Basically, majority of Bibles are based off of the Masoretic text, and majority of the Bibles are based on very young manuscripts, but not the oldest manuscripts. So the goal of the project is to, for the first time, create a Bible that is based on all the oldest manuscripts that we have to date. We're talking about the Dead Sea Scrolls, because with Dead Sea Scrolls you have an almost complete Bible. We're talking about the Septuagint. We're talking about the Samaritan Pentateuch. We're talking about also textual variants that are in other texts that no one else is using. Textual variants that, I'm telling you, they're going to give you some amazing different readings in the text that no one's ever seen before. And this is basically a new type of Bible. In fact, you can't even really call it a Bible. It goes beyond just a Bible.
Because can I make a suggestion?
Go ahead.
You mind if I make a suggestion, Michael? You mind if I make you a suggestion to you? Leave out all the hateful shit. Pardon my language, but leave out all the hateful shit that happened in the first version. You know, all that killing and judgment and all that. Leave all that out.
Here's something interesting about the Old Testament. The New Testament is the good news, right? But how do we know what the good news is without first knowing what the bad news is? So the interesting thing about publishing them both together is I'm going to be doing an expose on the Old Testament. A lot of people have never seen this side of the Old Testament before. I really wish I could show you the file and show you the research that I'm doing. The Masoretic texts, they date back to the 10th century. And what they've done is they've added vowels to the language. They did not exist before then. These vowels change the pronunciation and the meaning of words. If I could just show you even one word, you would be shocked. It would change a key passage, a key word, and your idea of the scriptures would change immediately in that one word. Because what happens is you have one Hebrew word, right? And that Hebrew word, if you can see my finger, will maybe appear in another verse, right? So you have one verse here, and another verse here. Each have the same word, but maybe they'll have different vowel marks on them. These different vowel marks will give this Hebrew word one meaning, and this Hebrew word a different meaning. But if you remove the marks, they become the same word. But because these marks are on them, people think that they are different words. And what I've been doing is collating these words, removing the marks, and restoring the original rendition of these words, doing deep research on the Hebrew Strong's Concordance. And you basically, no one has ever read the actual scriptures yet with the original ancient rendering before the Masoretic marks. And
can you give us a spoiler? What some of the changes that you found, like how it would alter the original, what we consider the original in any way? Like, how does it change?
Okay. This one is going to sound like a stretch. Let me just pull up the file real quick so you know I'm not just...
we've already covered the stretch, Michael. Don't worry about that. Oprah becoming John the Baptist.
We're long past the stretch
right there. We're way past the stretch mark.
Well, good to go. Well, we're going to get right into it. So,
is there words like psyched, just kidding, stuff like that in there? That would be kind of cool.
It goes beyond that.
Kyle, you just used Oprah and stretch mark in the same sentence. That's not very nice.
So here's a good one.
Don't fuck with me,
I'm sure you guys might want to look at it after the show's done. But if you can go to BibleHub.com, and I'm sure you'll be shocked. You might be, but this is just one example of what I'm trying to do here. Go to BibleHub.com and look at the Hebrew Strong's Concordance for Hebrews 7160 is a mapped word.
My computer's not used to going to Bible Hub. It's used to going to a different kind of hub.
I know what you're talking about.
What was the verse? What was the verse?
So, if you're good at Bible Hub there and you're good with Hebrew Strong's Concordance, the Hebrew Strong's number is 7160. So let me just pull that up.
That
real
means
quick.
I'm just going to let you go ahead. Now, if you need help navigating the other hub, that's where you can call me in. This one I'm not so good at.
So basically, Hebrew Strong 7160 shows up only 4 times in the Bible, and it means shown. And it's basically talking about Moses' face. Moses' face was shining. But apparently, there are 2 other Hebrew Strong's words. They actually come right after that one. So there's 7160, it means shown. 7161 means horns. And 7162 means horns. Now, 7160 means shine, shows up 4 times. 7161, which means horns, 76 times. And 7162 means horns, shows up 14 times. So we have, let's see here, 94 verses. 3 of those verses, it means horns. It means shine. But in 91 of those verses, it means horns. But they are all the same word, just different accentuation marks, different vowel marks. But if you remove the vowel marks, basically, Moses had horns.
I think I'm already liking this version of the Bible better already.
But here's the interesting thing, though. When Moses came down and received the 10 Commandments, the congregation of Israel, with Aaron included, they were afraid of Moses. They were afraid of his appearance. Now, here's the thing, though. If you believe the Masoretic translation, that his face was shining, that it was radiant, that it was beautiful, you tell me this. Is the congregation of Israel going to be afraid of a beautiful face? A shining face, it's radiant, it's beautiful?
Depends on how beautiful. I sometimes get afraid of Channing Tatum's face all the time. It's just that level.
I guess. So logically, it just does not make sense. But if you look at the other 91 occurrences of that word, it starts to make sense that maybe they were really afraid because he had horns.
Nobody's asking me, but I'm gonna also give a little bit of advice, and Michael, take this because I like you, and I've liked interacting with you, and I actually think you've put a ton of work into this. I've looked through your. I'm not good with computers, but the HTML file, is that what it is? Sorry, but whatever it is, the file that you sent me, I've looked through it pretty extensively. I admire this, and there's never, ever going to be a time that I think I'd want to quench somebody's drive, particularly a Marine's drive, right? You can't quench a Marine's drive, right? I would say that I've been doing Hebrew now 15 years. It's been a while. The reason that when I interacted with you, I asked you if you'd learned Hebrew, there's a reason for that. And that is that languages, particularly ancient languages, can be kind of complicated. For example, in what we're talking about here in Exodus 34 with Moses' face shining, the verb karan is, you're right, it doesn't occur all that often. But take it into something more pedestrian. The word davar. Davar means word. Diber, if you same consonants, can mean